Hello and welcome, my fellow Bible explorers. I did a cool chair spin thing.
Greetings, everybody.
We're so glad you're joining us. I'm excited to share today's lesson. It's something that's very important for us to understand and also very incredible. We are going to explore just who God is. Now, have you ever seen or experienced something so amazing that when you try to tell somebody about it, they just don't seem to understand how amazing it was?
Yeah, like this one time I ate this piece of cake I just saw lying on your desk, and it was so good and moist and tasty and chocolatey. Indescribable, really.
Hedgie, did you say off my desk?
I just remembered I gotta go do something.
I remember as a young kid the excitement of going on vacation to Hawaii. I hiked through a tropical rainforest and on a volcano. I went snorkeling in the ocean and saw all kinds of colorful fish, and I had a great time sharing an adventure with my family. Now, when I got back, I couldn't describe to my friends just how incredible my experience in Hawaii was. Words just failed to describe it the way I experienced it. In discussing who God is, it's important to remember that human words can never fully describe how awesome, majestic, and wonderful God truly is. God is greater than anything we can imagine. Yet through the Bible and His creation, God has shown us important truths about who He is. We call them God's attributes, and they help us understand who He is more clearly. One of God's most amazing attributes, and the one we're going to explore today, is God's holiness.
And not holy like the Swiss cheese. Holy like, well, you'll see.
God is holy, which means He's perfect, completely good, and completely different from anything else in all creation. Think about how big the earth is. Then imagine all the planets, stars, and galaxies put together. God is even bigger than all that. Or think about the kindest person you know. God's kindness and love are so much greater. But holiness means even more than that. It means God is set apart. There is no one else like Him. No one is wiser, no one is stronger, no one is more loving, no one is more beautiful. In the Bible, when people caught even a tiny glimpse of God's holiness, they were filled with awe and wonder, and sometimes even afraid of His greatness. One of these stories is about a prophet of God named Isaiah, who has an unforgettable encounter with God that will change his life forever.
That must mean story time. I'll get the lights. I'm okay, I think.
Isaiah lived during a time when many people in Judah had drifted away from God, choosing their own ways instead of following Him, and not giving God the respect and reverence He was due. As a prophet, it was Isaiah's job to deliver God's messages to the people of Judah, and one day, Isaiah found himself worshiping the Lord in the temple in Jerusalem. He had done this many times before. He was familiar with every stone on the floor as he knelt in prayer. He knew the rich, fragrant smell of incense rising from the glowing coals on the altar, its smoke dancing upward in warm, flickering light. He knew the sounds of hushed echoes that danced off the temple walls with every whispered word and every quiet step. But what was about to happen was something he had never known or imagined before. Suddenly, heaven itself opened before him. Isaiah shielded his eyes as brilliant, pure light burst around him, flooding the temple with such overwhelming radiance that not a single shadow remained. As he peeked through his trembling hands, astonished that the blazing light had not blinded him, he noticed a magnificent robe flowing before him, layer upon layer of breathtaking splendor, shimmering with deep crimson reds, seemingly endless shades of purples and blues, and glowing threads like liquid gold, its endless train stretching across the temple floor all the way to the throne above. And then, for just a moment, as though his own eyes betrayed him for a single glimpse of immortal beauty, he dared to look, upon the one seated on the throne. Never had his heart been filled with such intense longing and yet such dreadful terror all at once. Time itself seemed to stand still as Isaiah beheld such overwhelming glory, and somehow he knew that an unseen veil mercifully covered his eyes, that if the full weight of God's beauty, holiness, and majesty were unveiled before him, he would surely perish. And that was when he noticed them, the mighty seraphim, towering in radiant glory around the throne. Their wings shimmered in blazing light, catching flashes of sapphire, gold, and fire as though reflecting the splendor of the one they served. With 2 wings they covered their faces, not daring to gaze fully upon the perfect holiness of God. With 2 they covered their feet in humble reverence, and with 2 they hovered in the air, ready at the command of their king. It was then that the mighty angels lifted their voices in perfect unison, and the sound was so powerful it seemed as though the very voice of the one on the throne thundered through them. Holy, holy, holy is the Lord Almighty. The whole earth is full of his glory. The very foundation of the temple trembled at the sound of the mighty angelic voices. Thick clouds of smoke, like incense rising from a great heavenly altar, swirled around the temple as if to offer praise to God in unison with the seraphim. Terror seized Isaiah's heart. "Woe is me," he cried. "I am ruined." In that terrifying, breathtaking moment, Isaiah suddenly saw himself as he truly was, not compared to other people, not by the standards of the world, but standing before the perfect holiness of God. "I am a man with unclean lips," he cried, his voice trembling, "and I live among a people with unclean lips, and yet my eyes have seen the King, the Lord Almighty." Then, through the swirling smoke, one of the mighty seraphim moved toward him. In his hand was a glowing coal taken from the altar with tongs. Isaiah could only watch, frozen in fear, as the radiant being drew near. The burning coal touched Isaiah's lips, and yet it did not destroy him. Instead, the seraph spoke, "See, this has touched your lips. Your guilt is taken away, and your sin is paid for." The holy God Isaiah feared had not destroyed him. Instead, his sins were forgiven and he was shown mercy. Then, through the stillness that followed, a deep and powerful voice spoke, majestic in strength, yet carrying the gentle warmth of a loving father. "Whom shall I send, and who will go for us?" Isaiah's heart, once crushed with terror, now burned with something new. Love, gratitude, purpose. At last he had found the one his soul had always longed for, and he knew this God was worth giving his life for. And with heartfelt devotion, Isaiah answered, "Here am I, send me." Isaiah's story reminds us that God is far holier, greater, and more glorious than we can imagine, yet he's also full of mercy and love. When Isaiah beheld the glory of God, his first response was worship. He said, "Here I am, send me." He offered his service to God. This is why it's so important for us to have a clear picture in our mind of God's holiness, because what we believe about God shapes the way we live. If we see God as small, distant, or unimportant, our hearts won't be moved to love him, trust him, or follow him. But when we begin to understand his holiness, greatness, mercy, and love, worship becomes our natural response to God. Like Isaiah, we too can say, "Here I am, Lord, send me."
Here I am, Lord, send me, me. I just felt inspired to worship. I should go on tour.
God is holy. There's nothing in all of creation that compares to him. Our minds can't even imagine how good, loving, and powerful he is.
He's just the best.
That's actually a great way to sum it all up. He is the best. There's so much more to know about God's greatness and his goodness, In the following lessons, we're going to take a closer look at some of the attributes of God to give us a clearer picture of the amazing God He truly is. Thank you for joining us. We'll see you in the next lesson.
So long, everybody. Lord, send me, yeah.